If you can see me, press 1, and if you hear me, press 2. If you can see me, press 1, and if you can hear me, press 2. Welcome, welcome, wherever you at. Hopefully you're being appreciated and never tolerated. Hopefully wherever you are loved, you are seen, you are heard, right? I hope that your life is everything that you want it to be. You're at the right place at the right time. This is heaven on earth, the number one home for personal development. It's a little different over here because here we unlock the mystery in you, not the history in you, right? We don't believe that you have to die to get to heaven. All you got to do is be real, reflective, enlightened, accountable, but most importantly, limitless. My name is Ken Billions, and I'm an internet grinder. My philosophy is life design. I work online. I don't live here. I grind in the cloud and I ball in real life. What's good, man? I got heat for you today. Today is a students only conversation, right? This is a conversation where you got to do the work. You know how people say do the work? I'm going to show you how to do the work in steps and in systems. You're going to see what it looks like, and you're going to walk away with tools in your toolbox that you can use in real time. My conversation today is based off my latest book, The Initiated Human. Today's build is called The Sovereign Mind. Discipline your mind before it governs you. Our conversation today is called The Sovereign Mind. Discipline your mind before it governs you. Everybody can't discipline the mind. Super tough because people don't know there's a difference between your brain and your mind. And if you went to public school like me, there's no class that tells you how to discipline your mind. We're focused on brain stuff. We're focused on hunger. We're focused on acceptance, tribalism, identity, gender, race, ethnicity. That's all brain stuff. That's not the mind. So, our conversation today is how to discipline the mind before it governs you. And this is based off Arcanum, or a chapter in my latest ebook, The Initiated Human. If you're on TikTok, you could DM me, Self Mastery, and I'll get that to you. If you're in a live chat on YouTube, it's exclamation point mastery, and that'll get to you. You ready? What is the mind? Before I get into, I want you to think about it and consider, what is the mind? What do you think it is? Now, I already said that the mind and the brain are different. What's the difference between the mind and the brain? Do you think everybody has access to mind? Hmm? What is mind? What is it? How do you explain mind? How would you explain mind to a child? Right? The babies know they have a brain, but how would you explain mind though? Right? Hmm? Mind is a plane of existence. Brain is the body, right? Brain is the motor, the engine that governs the human meat suit. But what is mind though? Hmm? You have the physical plane, you have the mental plane, right? Mind is attached to the mental plane. Now there's degrees and levels of the mental plane, but mind is not body, right? Now, we're going to get into it, but I'm going to let you know that anybody talking about marching, anybody talking about unity and coming together, those are ops. And let me tell you why they're ops. Because anyone talking like that has you fighting the wrong war. We are in the future. Old school warfare is about killing the body. New school warfare bypasses your body and goes to your mind, right? Food, frequencies, signals, chants, vibration, all that jams the signal. I personally believe that as we keep transitioning, there are going to be humans on the planet that are born that do not have access to the mental plane. They're going to be all body. And you can see it happening right now, right? Impulse. That's how just people are impulsive, reactive. They don't know how to sit in the things that are attached to the human meat suit, right? For you to understand your own jealousy, your own possession, your own anger, you have to go to mind, because you have to be able to look at those things from a distance. Okay? Mind is a plane. Brain is part of the physical plane. Mind is part of the mentalism. Mind is part of the mental plane. And mind has levels to it: conscious mind, pre-conscious mind, unconscious mind. So when you're talking to somebody and they and they react the way that they do typically, right? You can't see the things that are in the unconscious. You know what I'm saying? But that's where a lot of the shit comes from, and the unconscious never turns off. It's been on since we were children. We just been picking up data. You know what I'm saying? We've been picking up sounds. We've been picking up words. We've been paying attention to body language. We've been eating certain foods, right? Now, the people that design this planet know all of this because they are running the planet with ancient knowledge. Okay? They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what hertz do. Certain frequencies. They know what the food does. They design this shit. They know what keeping people in fight or flight does. They know how to jam the signal so you can't access mind. Now, mind is the original technology. That's what the internet is pulling from. Right? Where do you think they get the idea of the internet and Wi-Fi? Where does that come from? Right? That is them trying to create mind. Right? They're pulling mind into the physical, into the cloud, right? So the same way that they can jam the signal for your internet, your ability to tap into mind can also be jammed, right? Religion jams your ability to tap into mind. It gets you focused on hero worship. That has nothing to do with mind. It gets you focused on the body. It has you outsourcing your energy. That's how you jam the signal. It has you praying to things. It has you, and those things are egregores. So an egregore, or if you're in Gnosticism, the ancient archons, these energies are designed to pull you away from mind, right? If you're religious, you are out of your mind. If you're a nationalist, you're out of your mind, right? That's where the real war is. So if you're running around thinking that you can vote change in, you don't understand where the war is going on. You don't understand, or you're not aware, excuse me, not you don't understand. Let me talk to you different. You may be unaware of where the chess is being played at, right? The designers are operating from mind, and it's showing up in the physical realm, right? They are doing their due diligence in creating in the mental plane, in other planes, right? And they are taking what they're getting from the mental plane and winning in the physical world. Meanwhile, they're jamming the signal of the public and not allowing the public to have access to mind, and it's having physical consequences. So what you're looking at when you're scrolling social media, when you're moving out and about in the world, you're seeing a shell. When people say a NPC character, right? It's a shell, right? It's the human shell, but there's nothing else there. They don't have access to mind. You know what I mean? The brain is on. That's why they're eating, right? Static. Okay. Let me see. 1 second. What about now? I could be peaking. Okay. Let me take my tone down. The brain is on, right? The shell, the animal part is on. The animal part is hungry. The animal part gets angry. The animal part wants to get married. The animal part wants to have sex, right? So you have millions and billions of people in the animal part, in the body, but many don't have access to mind though, right? Many don't have access to mind. The signal is jammed. The signal is jammed because of food. The signal is jammed because of music. The signal is jammed because of religion. The signal is jammed because of identities that we take on. I'm a black man. I'm this. I'm that. Right? That is all things that are on the physical plane. Right? The self mastery part is being able to transcend the body to get to mind and then integrate the animal self with mind, right? So you see there's a difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. They do two different things. Two different things is going on. You know what I'm saying? Between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. We're always in the conscious mind. We are not taught how the subconscious mind works, because if we were, we would move way different. If we were taught how the subconscious mind, matter of fact, we outsource our energy so much that we don't even know the complexities of what it is to be human. We don't know that we have a self behind the self and a self behind the self that's behind the self, right? We use words like shadow, right? But no one really goes into how it works and what that is. What is the shadow self? What is the hidden self, right? And I personally believe if people really delved into shadow work, they wouldn't want the things that they want, right? People get married because of things that are going on in their shadow. People have children because of things that are going on in their shadow. People make life decisions because of things that are going on in their shadow. People's beauty standards, the things people like and dislike, are things that are going on in their shadow. You know what I'm saying? If many people did a deep dive into the shadow, they may not buy that car. If people did a deep dive into their shadow, they may not wear their hair like that. If people did a deep dive into their shadow, they may not have the sexuality that they have. Most of the decisions that we are making are based on scripts that are going on in the background. Now, and if you notice, all the people, especially from antiquity, that we elevate in modern times are people that have went to a different plane. if you follow Jesus and you read it for what it is and not what Paul said. But if you read the story of Jesus and then read the Buddha, right? Read the Buddha first and then read Jesus's timeline, similar behavior. You know what I'm saying? And there's a similar behavior with all these ancient people that transcend the body. And the common man and the common woman is so fascinated that these people have been able to transcend the body. They are called gods. People make statues out of them. You know what I'm saying? When a person transcends the body, they are called messiahs. When a person transcends the body, they are called like the chosen one. And because the people that are living in that specific time don't know that they have that same ability, they deify the person that does that. If you look at this graph right here, right? The person that transcends the physical plane and has access to the source, people worship that person. But that same individual tells those people that you can do it too. You know what I'm saying? That same individual was like, yo, don't worship me. The thing that's in me that allows me to transcend, you can do it too. It's a specific behavior that they always fast. They always suffer the body. They always put the body in detox. They always put the body in hunger, right? The things that the animal self crave, those people that transcend the body suppress that body, right? And then the public is like, man, I can't go without food. So they call the person that can a god. The person that can go without sex, the public says, man, I can't do that. So the person that can, they call them a god, right? It's crazy. The people that are considered messiahs and gods are only considered that because the student doesn't want to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Jesus and Buddha got similar behaviors. Not just them. When you peel back the layers of all those people existing at a specific time where they were elevated beyond man, it's the community around them that elevate them because those people have not tried to do the work. So they let that person fast for 40 days, right? Because to go without food is extremely difficult because your animal self is raging. You know what I'm saying? You're going against biology. You know what I'm saying? People that go celibate, you're going against biology because humans want to fuck each other. So you not doing it, you're going against your biology. You're going against your animal self. And when people do it, they get raised. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference between the brain and the mind. Okay? The designers keep the people in brain. What is that? Food, clothes, shelter, fight or flight. The brain runs the animal self. Okay? I will argue that the brain is the shadow side of mind, right? I will argue that the brain is the lower nature of mind because the brain operates on the physical realm. The mind operates non-physical, right? So to me, how I would say it is the brain is the lower nature or the shadow side of mind. Okay. So if you can imagine mind descending, devolving, right? And it's ill because even though that the brain is the shadow side or the lower nature, it's balanced. It must exist. Right? So mind has many layers in the unseen, brain has many layers in the seen. Both go together. So the master knows how to integrate both parts. That's the thing. Because on this 3D realm, you can't be all mind. You will drive yourself batshit crazy. I know. I've done it. And you can't be all brain. You will drive yourself batshit crazy. I know. I've done it. Right. So I've been in extreme in brain and I've been extreme in mind. Right. Not knowing how to integrate the two. And when I was a lesser student, I thought that I was supposed to pick. So when I was in my body, I made the mistake and I picked. And when I was in mind, I made the mistake and I picked. And I started judging my body. And when I was in body, I started judging my mind, not knowing that they go together. Okay. So, difference between brain and mind, right? The brain, this is Ken's definition. The brain is the shadow side of the mind. Okay. So this is just another slide. The brain is an organ. The mind isn't an organ, right? The mind is on a different plane. The brain is on the physical plane. Mind is part of the mental plane. So again, my definition of brain is the shadow side of the mind. Okay. Our conversation today is the sovereign mind. Discipline your mind before it governs you. But what is sovereign? Right? I know you hear this word thrown around online. Sovereignty, 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 sovereign. What does it mean? Right? Now, it's very interesting the people that talk about sovereignty, right? Look at what they trip over because they're out of alignment with what the definition actually is. Sovereign is possessing supreme or ultimate power, acting or done independently and without outside interference. If you're a jealous person, how can you be sovereign? If you're a possessive person, how could you be sovereign? Hmm? If texturism, if these isms are affecting you, how can you be sovereign? Right? Because sovereignty is possessing supreme or ultimate power, right? How can you be affected by those things if you say you are sovereign? Maybe you might not want to use sovereignty yet until you have the ability to separate yourself from jealousy, possession, insecurities, and until you have the ability to put these things in a petri dish and study them, because that's power. Power is being able to disassociate yourself from the feeling and be present in it at the same time. So to be sitting in your meat suit, going through it, but at the same time, being able to watch yourself go through it and decide from there, does that shit look good on you or not? Let's get into the bars. For those of you that's saying it's static coming, seems like my mic is sensitive today. So I'll try to keep my tone right. Right. So this is based off my latest book, The Initiated Human. And the things that are in this book are based on my own work. This is not theory. Right. So a lot of this came from me being out of alignment. So I picked mind for a season and then I picked body for a season. So a lot of this is based on me experimenting and doing the work on myself. Okay. So if you're on YouTube, it's pinned to the chat. If you're on TikTok, uh, DM me self mastery and it'll come right to you. You know what I'm saying? So let's get started. The sovereign mind. This is Arcanum, which is a chapter, and an Arcanum is a deep message, a secret message, something that you have to be initiated into to know and to understand. Okay. The sovereign mind. Discipline your mind before it governs you. So we're going to go through it in 4 parts. First is the problem, the mechanism, the arc, and then take it with you. The first part is the why the untrained mind is not neutral, the mechanism, how governance actually works, the arc, threshold to irreversibility, and take it with you. That'll be your homework, and that'll be what you practice the moment this stream ends, right? So this is not nothing where you just hear me going over, right? This ain't church. You got to do the shit. You got to do the work. You know what I'm saying? All right. All right. John Milton said, the mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell. Excuse me. The mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. The problem: why the untrained mind is not a neutral place or neutral space. Why the untrained mind is not a neutral space. Super important. Remember in the beginning when I was talking about in school, we are not taught how to train our mind, right? We are taught body stuff, recess, you know what I'm saying? Social studies and history. That's not the mind. So as children, we're picking up all this data because the institutions that we're engaging with is not even telling us that we have another part of ourselves. It's not even teaching us the techniques to have defense when things, images and sounds are penetrating us, right? It's not neutral. It's on. It's always turned on. You know what I mean? So when we are watching television, like look at the ads that's going on. Like we're being primed all day from radio, TV, from media. We're primed all day. And it's to the point where many of us, you think you're in control over your life, but your decisions are being made for you. Your tastes are being made for you. What you consider beautiful, that decision is made for you. Your your dating standards, you didn't develop that dating standard. That was made for you. The things that you like, somebody decided that for you. The things that you dislike, somebody decided that for you. Your enemy, somebody decided that XYZ was your enemy. Somebody decided for you that that country is your enemy. Somebody decided for you that that car has value over that car, right? Without you even paying attention, your taste has been hardwired. Without you even paying attention, your likes and dislikes have been hardwired. Without you even paying attention, your identity has been hardwired. I'm a black male. Says who? Nature doesn't say that. Says who? Somebody wired that in you. You know, I'm a black woman. Says who? Since when? When did people start calling themselves that? I'm an African American. You see what I'm saying? And then we put the I am on it, which makes it worse. I'm this. Okay, well, what does that mean? So when you say you're a black man, what does that mean? In the grand scheme of things, what does it mean? It means something. What does it mean? And does what it means, does it help you get closer to mind? When you say I'm a black woman, does that help you get closer to mind? Or does that help your body experience? Yeah, it helps your body experience because it attaches you with so-called community. You know what I'm saying? And that is a pain point because people are in fight or flight and scared for their life. So they need to hide in groups. They need to be a part of a community, a part of a group, because what happens if something negative happens? I don't want to be alone. Based on my experience and my own initiation, one of the best ways to get to mind is to be scared and push past your fear with courage. Walk straight into the thing that allows you to feel the discomfort of uncertainty. Are you going to face physical harm? What's behind that door? When you walk towards the thing that scares you the most, you're putting your body up. Anytime you put your body up, it unlocks mind. But because we want to be safe and secure, right? It's all pleasure to the body. When you look at a lot of indigenous cultures, their initiations for the males, it sends them out into the wild to conquer their fear, right? They potentially may not come back, but they're out there by themselves and they have to push past their superstition. They have to push past their confirmation bias. They have to push past the things that scare them the most. They have to face the potential of their body being hurt. They have to look death in the eye, right? To prove themselves. That unlocks mind. Going without food for a long time, that unlocks mind. We are slaves to comfort. We are slaves to like sugar. We're slaves to like pleasure. Where it's all about pleasure seeking. You know what I'm saying? And and when we have an addiction to pleasure, it's at the expense of mind. So why the untrained mind is not a neutral space? What you think about, sustained across hours, days, and years, determines the quality of the mind that emerges. What you think about, sustained across hours, days, and years, determines the quality of the mind that emerges. I used to believe in white supremacy. I used to say it, right? That was a hardcore belief in me. And I didn't understand language. Now, you've seen the definition of sovereign, right? Sovereign and supremacy, similar. And I didn't know what I was creating with my language. And I didn't know that the thoughts that I was thinking was actually projecting that outside. I genuinely thought these people was supreme. And I thought that was the correct way of thinking because when I said white supremacy, it was endorsed by the people surrounding me, right? When I was saying that, that was at the expense of myself because language matters. White supremacy. So then I went and looked up what the word mean. I'm like, damn, white is like favorable and capable of immorality, pure. And then I attached supreme with it, right? This is a magical language. So I'm this is the game of Sims. So when I'm saying white supremacy, I am creating that. How could that be supreme and they go in the same cemetery as everybody else, right? Even as a concept, you know what I'm saying? Words matter, right? And then when I found out what an egregore was, I'm like, man, we're creating, or this belief is creating the deities. So white supremacy is a deity. I know because it used to govern my life. The moment where I would think something productive, it would bump into this ideal of white supremacy. Man, I'm not going to do it because the white man just going to take it from me. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, all billionaires are criminals. Okay, well, I grew up with poor people. I was a criminal. So what are we saying? Right? You know what I'm saying? And you know who repeated that to me? Billionaires are unethical. Right? You know who put that in my head and that stopped me from making money, stopped me from moving forward? People with limited belief. So are you saying no billionaire could be righteous and righteousness is only for a poor man? Really? That's what you're saying? Everything has to exist on equal plane. The poor man can be vicious. That means the rich man can be generous and kind. The rich man and the poor man capable of the same capacity. You know what I'm saying? In student mode, you never pick a side, ever. Even when it looks like it's part of the dominant culture, because you don't know what you're looking at. You're here saying what that over there is. You don't know. You always, you always have to investigate. Always. Never, ever pick a side. Never pick a side. Sound trip. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna unplug this and then I'm gonna plug this mic. Let me see. Tell me if you can hear me. Let me see. Speakers. Okay. What about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Audio input. Can you hear me? 1 second. Can you hear me? What about now? Can you hear me? Good on your end? All good. Okay. All right. If you can hear me in the chat, press 1 real quick. Press 1, press 1, press 1. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I just need a 1 to let me know if I'm good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I just need a 1. Can you hear me? 1. All right, cool. 1. All good? Okay, let's get back to the bars. All right. All right. So what you think about sustained across hours, days, and years determines the quality of the mind that emerges. So there's a distinction between observation and governance. Now, the observer is a chapter in the book. The observer watches, okay? The sovereign mind directs, okay? So there's a difference between watching your thought and directing your thought, your behavior and directing your behavior. First is the observer. That's the disassociation that I mentioned. The observer is watching your thinking. That is mastery right there. The ability to watch your own thoughts, to look at your thoughts from a distance, the ability to think a thought, step back from the thought, and look at the thought in action. Now, the sovereign mind, the power, the ruler, is able to direct that thought into a different place. Okay? The observer watches, the sovereign mind directs. Right? So, anybody hearing this, I want you to think a thought. Okay? Any thought. All right? No, matter of fact, not any thought. I want you to think a thought that usually comes to you that you don't like thinking about. You know what I'm saying? Something that bothers you that always comes up. I want you to think that thought right now. Okay? So you're going to play the role of the observer. So you can do this with your thinking and you can do this with your behavior. So if you want to think about a thought, you can do that. And if you want to think about your behavior, you can do that. But something that is like a thorn in your side, something that you've been wanting to get over, it could be your own limited belief. It could be your rage. It could be your anger. It could be your petty. It could be, you know what I'm saying, the way that you know, what you do with your bread. You know what I'm saying? Now I want you to observe it. Okay. So whatever your thought is, I want you to observe it. Imagine the thought that you're thinking is walking across the street. I want you to look at it. Okay. Now, I want you to direct the thought. So if it's a thought that you don't like thinking, direct the thought to the trash. And every time that thought comes up, because it will, even in self mastery, these things are still going to pop up, right? But now you have the tools and techniques and you know what to do with it. Okay. So if it's a thought that you don't like, it doesn't benefit you. If it's a behavior that you don't like and it doesn't benefit you, I want you to observe it. You're the observer. This is a chapter in the book. And now the sovereign mind, the owner, the basically the orchestrator, I want you to move the thought now to the trash if you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? If you are want love, step back from it, look at it. First ask yourself why, right? To make sure that what you're thinking is towards the mystery and not the history. Don't be looking for love because you didn't get it in the past. Look for love because you have something to offer in the future, because you want to become something. Okay. So observe love and then direct it where you want to go. If you wanted to go to a person, direct it there. If you wanted to go to a house, direct it there. If you wanted to go to yourself, separate yourself from that, observe the thought, and direct it to yourself. Okay. So you have observation and governance. Observation is the look, the awareness. Oh, shit. And governance is knowing how to move the thought to and fro. Right? Okay. The modern mind is fragmented by design. Continuous stimulation, emotional manipulation, informational excess, external systems compete constantly for your attention. Without governance, the mind is organized externally, not directed internally. This is how the typical day looks for millions of people. Morning, midday, evening. What's it look like? Okay. Phone before feet hit the floor. Doom scroll sets the day's tone. Right? This is the morning. This is how it usually goes. Okay. Phone before feet hit the floor. Doom scroll sets the day's tone. So people, soon as they wake up, grab their phone. Why? Body, brain. You miss something. You miss something. Who is DJ Academics talking about? Right? Gotta see Adrian Broner. You know what I'm saying? Is he gonna lose the belly? Right? You need to see that. Oh, you can't miss Blueface. You know what I'm saying? He out here looking for a golden retriever. You ain't trying to miss Blueface look for a golden retriever. You know? So when you wake up, you grab your phone immediately, midday. Now you go into another state. A comparison spiral from social media derails you for 2 hours. Ask yourself, why would they show Moneybag Yo buying his girl a car? Why would they show that? Why would they show this person on vacation? Now, the shade room grabs data from other places, right? So the shade room surfs the internet, right, for celebrities doing celebrity shit. And then they centralize it and post it in one space. So you might not even knew Rick Ross was on vacation, but the shade room is going to tell you, right? And then it's going to have Rick Ross spending money on his girl. And you know what you're going to say? Lucky, right? The men and women both feeling bad. Women feeling bad because they ain't receiving shit, and men feeling bad because they ain't in a position to do shit. So you started the morning, grabbed your phone, doom scroll. Midday, a comparison spiral. And you know what's messed up? You don't even know what you're looking at. You don't know if these motherfuckers got AIDS. You don't know. You have no clue. All you see is them spending money. You don't know how they got it though, right? And then you get to the evening. Anticipatory anxiety about tomorrow replace rest. None of these moments were chosen. All of them were absorbed. This is the fragmented mind. Morning, midday, evening. This is every day for millions of people. Maybe even you. So the what this system is doing is keeping the human stuck in body, is jamming your signal for mind. Because if you have billions of people focused on mind, you have no system. Right? If you have billions of people focused on mind, that's how you communicate with animals. That's how you're in one with nature. You are one with the force that is behind why the plants grow. Yeah, it's photosynthesis, but there's an intelligence in that. And if people are focused on mind, that's how you move big stones. Because what they don't talk about these megalithic structures from the past is resonance. The reason why you can't find how they pulled these blocks from thousands of miles away to build these pyramids is because I believe they floated them because they had resonance. Ancient people had a relationship with stone. And if you can find the frequency of the thing, you can move it. You ever seen somebody that with a high pitched voice break glass? That's called resonance. Okay. Now the frequency could go either way to the negative or positive because they got people on resonance right now, but you can't move shit, not even your feet. You know what I'm saying? And so they're jamming the signals. They know what they're doing, right? And they fund the people telling you what war you're fighting, right? Oh, we got to save these kids, y'all. How? Let's build a school. Well, what are you going to teach at the school? What are you going to teach at the school? Breathing techniques? What are you going to teach at the school? If it doesn't even mirror at least what the children are learning at Shaolin temples, like, what are we talking about here? What are you going to teach them? More history? For what? And that's going to do what? So you can learn about yourself. Self has nothing to do with the body, right? You don't think the powers that be fund both sides? You ever seen the movie Lord of War? How does the enemy have guns too, tanks too? Somebody profits off the war. How does the op have guns? Where did they get it from? Oh man, they don't want nobody. They don't want people to wake up. They don't care because you're still playing within the rules. You're still playing within the rules. It's WWF. You know what I'm saying? So look at the hidden hand or whatever you want to call the elite. Look at them like Vince McMahon. The thing you think is a threat, they fund that too. Because the threat is still fighting within the parameters of the ring. You know what I'm saying? You choosing a side. They never pick mine. What they're still talking about, we need to fix the community. We need to hit, man, you can't fix humanity. It's humanity. The only way to defeat the system is to starve the body. It's collective detox globally. Everybody would not have to eat food. everybody would have to go without their vice. Everybody would have to make their body extremely uncomfortable, and that would starve the egregore. That would starve the entities, because the entities need to feed off human fear, human desire, human insecurity, right? So if collectively people starve their body, that's how you affect the system. Not voting another person in. You think it's the people. No, it's the system, right? But you don't bring it down by going combat with it. That's body stuff. You fight it on another plane, right? You have to starve the body. You have to starve the entity. That's if that's your focus on making changes in regards to human beings. You know what I mean? But me personally, the change is invisible, individual, excuse me. It's for you to be able to rise past your body into your mind. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not gonna go, and they shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not gonna go. Every because to be in the driver's seat of your life is super scary. To be able to integrate your body and your mind, and they're not at war with each other, right? So this is how the average day looks: morning, midday, evening. Thought can no longer remain entirely unmanaged. Not suppression, deliberate organization of attention. The mechanism, right? So we started with the problem. The problem was awareness. Oh, that's how it looks. Now we're going into how to move it around. The mechanism, how governance of thought actually works. And what we are discussing, this is a chapter from my book called The Sovereign Mind, from my book, The Initiated Human. Okay. So everything that I'm teaching right here is in the book. But I'm not the first person to try to suppress the body. Stoic philosophy is attempt for to suppress the male body, right? This is not the first time somebody has came in to try to flush out ideals on how we could change our state. This has been going on for thousands of years in different regions, right? So you had old traditions like Buddhism that was trying to suppress the body. Even ancient Christianity that was trying to suppress the body. Islam that's trying to suppress the body. The problem with those traditions is culture ended up in the books. So it's not just tools on how you suppress the body. You get culture at the same time. You know what I mean? What their views on women, marriage, stuff like that. That has nothing to do with mind. That's all culture. You know what I'm saying? So this is not new. But these bars, how I'm kicking it, that shit is new. Ain't that nigga ever said it like me. So how governance actually works. Recognize, redirect, repeat, reorganize. All right, let me say it slow so you can brainwash yourself with the tools. Recognize, redirect, repeat, reorganize. Okay, recognize, observe reoccurring thought patterns as they arise. Recognize. Okay, redirect. That's number 2. Withdraw your attention without force towards deliberate focus. Okay, so remember I was saying you observe and then you move it to where you want it to go, and then you repeat. Return attention again and again. Resistance is expected, right? So this is basically meditation on the move. And then you reorganize. The structure of thought itself begins to change. Okay, if you have anger issues, recognize, observe the thought. That's a reoccurring thought pattern. Observe it. Okay, redirect the anger. Withdraw attention without force towards deliberate focus. Then you repeat it. Then you reorganize. You keep repeating the steps over and over. And what you'll notice that you now have an ability that you didn't have before because the thought was dominating you. Now you have the ability to be the overseer of the thought. Your thoughts now become your slave instead of you being slave to your thought and doing whatever your thoughts say. Your thoughts now do what you say. If you say no, if you put a boundary around what you're allowed to think, your thoughts begin to obey. People talk a lot about boundaries, okay? But have you put a boundary around what you're allowed to think about? Have you put a boundary around your own thoughts? Or do you allow your thoughts to go anywhere at any time? And do you do what your thoughts say? Do you do what your feelings say? Now, it's interesting that men say women are emotional. Okay, teach women what it looks like to be a master of your emotions. What does that look like, men? Since your claim is that women are the emotional ones, so what does it look like when anger arises and you redirect it? What does it look like when your lust comes and you redirect it? You can't teach what you're saying because you're emotional just like the women are. You do the same shit. You know what I'm saying? You haven't had the ability to recognize, redirect, repeat, reorganize. You haven't sat with your thinking. You haven't sat with your behavior and been able to be an observer and then have governance over it, being able to move your thought and your behavior where you want it to go. Y'all got to chill on that, right? It sound good you saying women are emotional. Okay, well, hop in the driver's seat of mastery. Teach them. Teach them what it looks like to rise above how they feel in the moment and not dismiss their feelings. Be able to sit in the feeling, but move it. Y'all tell women to dismiss it. Y'all too emotional. They can't help it. They're in the human body. What do you mean? So are you. You only look at crying as oh, y'all emotional. Sir, anger is an emotion. So is respect. When you say you lose respect for a nigga, that's an emotion. Trust is an emotion, right? The problem is being in the male meat suit, you haven't been taught to put names to how you feel. So you look at emotion as one thing, crying and anger. That's it. But your entire experience in the body is emotional. There's never a time where you're not emotional. Even doing this work, you're still going to be emotional. The difference is you're just in the driver's seat and you know how to move the emotion around. So you can feel something and you can disassociate and say, it's not time for this emotion. Let me replace this emotion with another emotion because this emotion does not match the environment, right? I need to think. So let me do alchemy and have a different emotion that matches the state that I need to be in because I have to make a good decision right now. So fear is not wise for me to use, right? So the redirect in action, recognize, redirect, repeat. Example, a resentment loop about a coworker fires up mid-meeting. Redirect. Attention moves to the breath, 3 full cycles, no force. Repeat. The loop returns 20 minutes later, same redirect again. Now, I want to focus on number 2 about attention moves to the breath, 3 full cycles, no force. A lot of times, our emotions take control over us and we can't get a hold of ourselves because we don't know how to breathe. A lot of times We are in fight or flight. You notice when people fighting, they're always, if you was running from a bear right now, you will be, right? When you're at work and that same bobblehead bitch comes in the break room and starts popping into you, before you slap her lace front off, take a breath. That's allowing you, while she's popping it, that's allowing you to witness the moment. It's also allowing you not to witness the moment, but now you can say 1+1. Okay, slap plus her hitting the floor equals her snitching, which equals no money, which equals, right? You're able to do that. Watch your breathing. When you're having conflict with somebody that you say you love and something flies out your mouth that you really don't mean, it's because your breathing is off. Anytime that I said something foul, right, that I really didn't mean, I was, I could not get a hold of myself, right? I was breathing like an animal. I'm stuck in the state. I didn't mean what I said right there. That's my people's. I didn't mean that, right? But the words matched the way that I was breathing. So anytime you find yourself in a state of fight or flight, right? What that allows you to do is to calm the beast. There, right? You know how you pet your dog, you calm your dog down? That's what you're doing to your body when you, right? There. Okay. Recognize, redirect, repeat. Okay. The loops that run you: fear, resentment, fantasy, comparison, anticipation. Fear. Fear of what? Fear of what? What do most people fear? Pain, right? Pain. You know why when we get a bankroll, we go spend the bread, right? Because the pain of feeling poor. So I need drip, even though making that purchase is actually going to make me poor. It does not matter. People don't think I am. When I was young and dumb, I brought this Benz off the lot, right? The moment I drove it off the car lot, the engine light came on, right? I mean, the dude whacked me in the head for real, but it was fly, you know what I'm saying? I needed that because I had a fear of not being important, right? A lot of my purchases were based on I need to be important. I need to be seen. The fear of being invisible, right? So I need to be seen, even if that car note was going to destroy me. It didn't matter because that currency from the attention was what I was feeding on, right? So I had a fear of not being seen, the fear of not being important, right? The fear of not getting attention. But monsters aren't real. Monsters aren't real. You find out that the thing that you fear the most is just this thing inside of you, right? The opening up a business, solo traveling, trying something new. Monsters aren't real, right? You know, in all these movies, right? When the hero is like looking for, let's say, a treasure, it always has some type of Medusa or a dragon that's guarding the treasure, right? Those figures guarding the thing is you, is me, is our what we call lower nature, right? Keeping us away from the treasure, which is mind, which is confidence, which is self-esteem. Notice you can't touch none of that. You can't touch self-esteem. You can't touch confidence, right? You can't actually touch self-actualization. You know what I'm saying? Like the days when I'm trying to fast and I feel myself like, okay, settling in, all of a sudden my the animal starts, you gotta eat. Man, do it tomorrow. Starts talking to me. It's already programmed to keep me from there because the designers have put like a firewall in our body that when we get close to the answers, that animal self is going to start talking. It's going to start barking. It's going to keep us away from enlightenment. It already has a firewall in it. It has a self-destruct in it already. The moment you get closer to answer, something in your body is going to be like, oh, no, it ain't that. It can never be that. You ever have an amazing idea and you're like, wait a minute, it's that easy? And then something in you was like, nah, that ain't going to work. Think about if you have a number in your head of like how much money you want to make, right? And when that ideal comes to you, look at how much energy you have in the thought. And then all of a sudden you don't do it. Why? A monster came and talked to you and said, that's not going to work. It's too easy. It's not Facebook. It ain't Ralph though. You know, it ain't Amazon. Something creeps in and now you don't move on it. What happened? Where did that come from? Because you didn't have that as a baby, right? As a baby, you did every damn thing. You rode the bike, you jumped off the couch, you went in the refrigerator, you did all those kind of things because that monster wasn't developed yet until you start having belief systems, until you start taking on your parents' thought process and your peers' thought process, and until you start thinking like your environment, you know? But you ever just been driving in a car and the ideal that can solve your problems hits? Why don't you do it? I'll tell you why I didn't do it. It's because I believed in monsters. Imposter syndrome, that's a monster inside of me. Survivor's guilt, that's a monster inside of me. Worried about how my tone and language is and if people are going to accept me, that is a monster that exists inside of me, right? When you tame that monster, you realize the thing that you scared the most was afraid of doesn't even exist. It was a projection of the monster. We have that in us because the designers are playing with frequencies and vibrations and the food that we're eating and the things that we're learning and the music that we're listening to. It keeps us away from mind, right? So when you're watching that movie that looks like a kid movie and they're on an adventure, pay attention to the storyline, right? There's going to be this monster that keeps them away from the treasure. That's you. That's me. You know what I mean? And what is the treasure? Enlightenment, access to something beyond the body. Think about the billionaires and 100 millionaires. Okay, think about Elon Musk, right? Outside of the politics and whatever you want to come up with, do you think he has an astrologer? Do you think he has a numerologist? Do you think he has a system that keeps him in mind? I believe Elon Musk has access to all the great ideals that people think. He has access to your ideal that you thought that was a great ideal. He has access to it. He has access to the cloud of ideals, of genius. And the system, the designers cut the public off for those ideals. Because once you think it, it goes somewhere, right? But there's only certain people on the planet that have access to heaven. That's heaven. Heaven is all the greatest ideals that have ever existed in one spot. Now, how do you keep the have and have nots extremely separate? Don't let the have nots have access to the field. Jay-Z's dope, but the difference between him and the common man, Jay-Z has access to the field. He's going somewhere for the thoughts. It ain't just coming out of him like he's just this genius, not to even disrespect his, what he is capable of. But like he said, I told my wife this spiritual shit really worked. What spiritual shit? What did he mean on Family Feud when he said, I told my wife this spiritual shit really worked? What spiritual shit? He never said, and no one ever asked. What spiritual shit? What creativity does Jay-Z and Beyonce have access to that other people don't? And if other people don't, why not? Because creativity and thought exists on a plane. And the people that keep winning seem to have access to something that other people don't. And when you're on the bottom, the only thing you can think of is something nefarious. Yeah, it ain't that though. It can be, but it ain't just that. You know what I'm saying? They have access to a plane that the average man and women don't. Notice, how come their diet is always different? Notice, their language is different. Oprah does not talk like the average woman. Now, you can say, oh, she's an Eastern star. That's probably true. But key on her language. That's the main difference between the people that have these billion-dollar net worths. Look at how they talk. It's different. Notice there is no friction in their language in terms of what they can accomplish. When you listen to the average man and the average woman talk, there's doubt in their language. There is pessimism in their language. There is generalizations in their language. There is statistics in their language. Because someone else failed, that, I'm going to fail too. Right? The people at the bottom can only do it as a group. The people at the top are like, you know what? I'm going to do it, and then the group going to follow me. Then you have resentment. You either sorry or you angry. You either sorry or you angry about something. Resentment, you stay in a state of you're sorry about something. You hate yourself because you did something in the past and you can't get over it, and you just abusing yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then you got resentment, or you mad as hell. Yo, I was a master at grudge holding. Like, holding grudges used to make my teeth white. I was a master at holding a grudge. And then when I thought about what I was holding on to, it was super petty. It was petty as hell. You know what I'm saying? The things that I was holding on to was petty. And I was mad at people for doing things to me that I did to others. How are you mad at somebody that lied to you when you're a liar? You never told one lie. Not one? Never? Really? But you mad when somebody do it to you. You know what I'm saying? Typically, the thing that we're angry over is something that we have done. We just don't like when it's our turn. So you either sorry as hell. I'm sorry, you on an apology tour. You don't think you're good enough for something that you like. Yo, everything that happens in humanity stays here. That's what you did while you was passing through. You got to get over it, right? The thing that you mad at, you got to get over it because it blocks you from mind. You know what I'm saying? Get over it, man. You know, whatever you're mad at, you did. You have done it in some form. Someone judging you, you've judged. Someone talked behind your back, you've talked behind someone's back before. Someone lied to you, you lied before. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I never cheated on my man. You've cheated at something. At something, it doesn't have to be that. But you've done the same thing. We just don't like when it's our turn to feel ourselves. You gotta get over it because the fear and the resentment blocks us from getting to mind. And then we got fantasy. Fantasy is a big one, right? So the fantasy that, you know, I was brought up in was this Egyptian fantasy of the past and this glory of black African. And man, I was taking somebody else's story because I didn't like my own life. Man, we built the pyramids. All right, well, build it now. If you build pyramids, then paying rent is nothing. I mean, the pyramids is matching up to Orion, you know, Sirius B and A. Like, if you can do that, then what is paying a bill? Right? Come on, bro. And notice that our fantasy a lot of times be in the past. It's not based on the future. It's not based on the possibility and what you can become. You know what I mean? Fantasy, things that ain't even here. You know what I'm saying? Just focus on the fantasy. The fantasy. It's a lot of women that live in fantasy, right? And you waiting for a Prince Charming to come swoop you. Why don't you just be the Prince Charming yourself? Why don't you do it? You heard Cash Dog, be the nigga with money. You be the protector and the provider of yourself. Why does somebody got to come provide for you? You do it yourself. Why does somebody got to come protect you? You can get a gun. Why are you living in a fantasy? You fantasy to be somebody's wife. That is a very small goal. Like, that's nothing unique. You know what I mean? My advice, be married to something that has a real return on investment, like your health and wellness. If a dude comes, great. But there's other things to be married to than besides a man. You know what I'm saying? And you got men that are fantasizing about this woman that just comes and brings him peace. Like, what? I don't think y'all know what this stuff sounds like. How can a person bring you peace? That is a state of being. And to outsource that is crazy. But I get it though. I get it. Because I've outsourced a lot of things and then suffered when I didn't get what I wanted. Well, I shouldn't have never outsourced that. Because peace is inside of you. That's a state of being. How could that's unfair to somebody to try to bring you peace. And based off a lot of niggas' behavior, you don't want peace. Because your decisions say you don't want peace. Does it look like Blueface want peace? Does it look like he want peace? When you look at a lot of men's behavior, does it look like you want peace? You know what I'm saying? So that's messed up as a partner, that for us to have a very dysfunctional behavior, and then we're like, yo, I want a woman to bring me peace. Like, you want a woman to come clean up your decisions and stitch you up and put wound, you know what I mean? Like, based off your own behavior, if you want peace, your decision making should be different as a man. You shouldn't make peaceful decisions. If men want peace, then why are you going around hurting other men? If men want peace, why are you going tearing the things that other men build? You know what I'm saying? And you want to destroy his shit and then build on top of it. That's not peaceful. If men want peace, why are we always at war? If men want peace, why are you calling other men broke? If you want peace, why you diss men that take care of another, take a stepdaddy? Why you diss men, right? You taking care of another man's kids. Is men dirty or something? How did that become another man's kid? That's a woman's child. That's not peaceful. That's a diss. You don't love children, right? Y'all talk out the side of your mouth. You know what I mean? If you want peace, that's what you are. You move with that. You know what I mean? You can be a peaceful samurai. You can be a peaceful soldier capable of war. You know what I mean? But based on the decisions that men make, you don't want peace. You know what I mean? What you want is someone come in your life and carry labor based on your decisions, and that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Because if you want peace, then why are we making women go crazy? That's not peace. You know? And then you got comparison. We really be thinking somebody else's life is better. Yo, I've had a jump on a lot of people because I've been able to do some work. You know what I mean? So when I be out and about, right? When I see a tall dude and then I see like a woman look at him and how she looks up, I don't be jealous. I'll be like, yo, I love that for him. I love that for them. Especially if they hit it off. I love the attention that he's getting from her. I love that she's attracted to that. I love that for them. When I see a dude in some new shit, he pull up beat and he clean, I look over, I love that for him. I love that for him. First of all, I don't know what went into him achieving that. This could be his last week on earth, and I'm sitting up here jealous of a man that's about to die. You don't know what you're looking at. You know, I don't compare. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that I do is I look at human ability and I want to know the mindset of how does a person run 200 something miles? I need to talk to them because where are you going in your mind? I'm not comparing, right? And I have learned to sit in my discomfort, right? Of damn, my nigga getting money. Woo! Right? And if any feeling comes over me, I'm gonna sit with that. Like, okay, yo, am I hating right now? Am I a hater? Ooh, I'm hating. Ooh. See? That's self-mastery right there. To admit that you're being a hater right now. You mad? You mad? You hoes just mad? You mad? You gotta admit when you mad. You mad. Right? Because how did that person that ain't even smarter than you, look better than you, more wavy than you, why do they have the thing that you want? You mad. Admit that. You mad. Look, this is not about suppressing the feeling. No. You audit it. You mad. Right now, you are a hater. I have been a hater. Right? It didn't extend to the individual I was hating on, but I definitely felt the feeling. And the self-mastery is, okay, I feel that I'm hating on this man. Let me alchemize that and turn that into, I love that for him. Right? But acting like that I wasn't a hater first, that's not self-mastery. No, I felt the feeling like my boy Wavy. You know what I'm saying? Look, he got the goals that I want in the gym. I can look at how women are gazing at him. Ooh, that's the thing. Ooh, right? Sitting with that. When somebody's up on you and you not sitting with that. Sitting with it, like, okay, damn, I want to roll. I want to go. I'm mad. So you sit with it and then you alchemize it. Like, you know what? Okay, that's just a signal that I'm alive. And that's what I want for myself. I don't want them not to have it. I just want it. Okay. So let me move this energy around. I was a hater, right? I was at a lower state, and now I love that for him. I love that for her. I'm going to get my own. But my hatred and my discomfort was me knowing that either I'm underachieving, I'm not working my plan, I want that thing, right? And if you really cold with it, go ask them how they got it, right? Go ask that man, hey, bro, where did you get a woman like that from? Go ask that woman, hey, sis, I don't want your man, but where did you get him from? Or not just that, who did you have to become to attract that kind of partner, right? You can ask questions like that, something that where you can use, you know, for offense. But the first thing is to be honest. Like, we've all had moments where a hater, like, this work is not about suppressing. It is about suppressing the body so you can go to another state, but not pretending that you don't feel hunger, not pretending that you don't feel rage and jealousy. You're in a meat suit, right? The difference is having tools to go from to to fro, right? So then you have anticipation. The anticipation now is so crazy because it's either I want it now or I'm nothing. I posted 3 posts today and nobody said nothing. I guess I'm nothing. You know what I'm saying? You got to work the plan. You have to work your transformation. You have to work your healing. You think because you're on your healing journey that you're supposed to be love and light and you don't go oops upside somebody's head, right? On this planet, don't we have butterflies and caterpillars and ladybugs and like cute rabbits and stuff? And don't we also have bears, tigers, leopards, right? Don't we have beautiful landscapes, but don't we also have earthquakes, right? This is a very peaceful planet, but it is also a predator planet at the same time. So in your healing journey, you may abandon it because you're trying to get rid of certain thoughts and emotions. Your anticipation is off. You got to work it. You know what I mean? And the healing is not that you get rid of it. It's that you're able to synthesize it and it doesn't control you. You control it. You know, so you have to change your expectation. You have to work your transformation. You have to work your healing. It's not just a thing you do on Saturday. Healing is a lifetime and it's not positive. That's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like, healing is not love and light. It's everything. It's to be able to synthesize light and dark, up and down, to become one thing. And then self-criticism, right? There's some people I talk to and I listen to them and they're so negative when it comes to talking about themselves. They're so negative, you know? Oh, I can't do that, or I'm not just like that, or just the things that they say about themselves is so foul. You know what I mean? They're so hard on themselves, you know, brutal about themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the meat suit, the way that it's designed and the way that it's programmed. People genuinely believe that abundance is not for them. They genuinely believe a quality life is not for them. They believe they must suffer, right? They believe in that it's virtuous to not have things, to not have friends and fellowship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't deserve, right? That's that monster talking again. Just a feedback loop all day long. I don't deserve, I don't deserve, I don't deserve, I don't deserve. You know, like, a lot of people's procrastination is based on self-criticism. It's not perfect. Yo, it's never going to be, fam. It's never going to be perfect. It's never. It's never. What if they don't like it? What if they don't? You know how many people in the world is? How is it that when we go through our comment section, we can have a bunch of yeses? Why do we respond to the no? We can have a million people in the comment section calling us cute and handsome, but we reply to the one person that don't like our face, right? How dare you criticize me? That right there tells me that you don't believe all those positive messages about yourself. You know what I'm saying? I've done it. You know what I mean? Oh, you're people in the comment section praise me. You're great. You're this, you're that. I find the one person in the comment section that this message ain't for them. And I got to address them because how dare you not accept me? But what I was displaying is I actually believe the negative comment more than I believe the people praising me. Because if you really believe the things that the people are saying when they're praising you, that's all you would see, right? You wouldn't even need to block the people that are against you because you are so firmly in positive belief about yourself. You look at the people that agree with you as your tribe, right? You'll find the one comment that says you're handsome and you'll ride with that. Yeah, right? So, fear, resentment, fantasy, comparison, anticipation, self criticism. These are the loops that run all day long. Think of these loops as large language models. Think of these loops as ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Manus running in the background. So you know how you can put these things on co-work, right? And it takes over for you when you're not at your computer. Where do you think they developed that software from? The GPTs, Gemini, Claude, those are the subconscious mind. That's how it runs. Just all day. Where do you think they're developing the software from? They are pulling from a real place, which is mind. That's all the large language models is. Yeah, sit with that. Clock that T right there. Chat GPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude is the subconscious mind. They created it and showed you what it looks like and how those things are running behind the scenes in your own life. The internet is mind. They created it. You can't see mind. They pulled it into the physical. Now you see it. But where's the internet exists? Where's mind exists? Where's the cloud? Where's imagination exists? Where does these things exist? On a plane, right? Okay. Copy that. Key distinction. Suppression intensifies resistance by granting the thought additional importance and emotional charge. Instead, observation without attachment. The reason why on your hero's journey, on your self-actualization path, on your healing journey, the reason why you may be slipping and falling is because you are trying to suppress the thought. You're trying to suppress the feeling. But when you suppress it, it intensifies. So imagine, what's his name? What is it? Incredible Hulk. When you hit him with radiation, he grows, right? You ever see the animal, the monster? The more you shoot at it, it grows, it feeds off that. That's how our monster is. The more you suppress it, it intensifies. The more you suppress the jealousy, it intensifies. The more you suppress the rage, it intensifies. You don't suppress it, you observe it, you watch it, you look at it. You have to learn to sit in it. I'm talking about in it. I'm talking about in it. You have to sit in it. You can't run from it, right? The more you run from it, the more you try to suppress it, the more it grows. Okay? Suppression intensifies resistance by granting the thought additional importance and emotional charge. Instead, observation without attachment. Part 3. The initiatory arc from threshold to irreversibility. So, what we are working with here, beloveds, is a system on how to do this work. We're just not sending you out there saying go inward. Okay, how? How do you go inward? When people say do the work, okay, what does that mean? Right? We're on part 3. These are steps on how to get here. And this is just one chapter, right? This is a whole book of self-mastery. Okay? The initiatory arc from threshold to irreversibility. Initiation. Thoughts continuously entertained begin to organize perception, emotional condition, and behavior. You must observe the patterns that recur with the greatest consistency and emotional intensity, not suppress them, but recognize the structure without becoming absorbed. That is the self-mastery. To be able to recognize your thoughts, recognize your feelings, sit in it, but not be of it. You heard the church folks say, be in the world, but not of it. Be in your feelings, but not of it. Be in your jealousy, your anger, your rage, your insecurity, but not of it. Right? Be in it, but not of it. Meaning, I feel it. I know this about myself. I allow myself to be the thing. I allow myself to go low, but I'm not it though. Okay? I allow myself to experience this. Wow, what is this? What is this feeling? I allow myself to be consumed by it, but I'm not of it. I could go in it and out of it. I can dance my way around the jealousy. I can dance my way around my depression and the things that are going on with me. I can go in my body, out of my body. Okay? And then I get a hold of this thing that is poking me, and I tell it what to do, and then I tell it where to go. Not the absence of mental activity, but the weakening of unconscious attachment to it. What once carried attention automatically is now observed before reinforcement. What if you could observe your behavior before you crash out? What if you could observe yourself saying the thing before you actually say the thing that is about to divide your house? What if you can observe yourself spending money? Observe what it looks like to come out of your bank account before you spend it. Boy, I wish you would have told me this before I was spending $1,000 in a strip club. I wish you would have told me that then. I ain't had that ability. I was stuck in my body like, man, I'm trying to feel this feeling, you know? And if I was able to observe, not saying that I would have made a different decision. I may have still went with the decision, but I'm in the driver's seat now. I know what it looks like when the money comes out my account. I know what it looks like when I get drunk in this joint. I know what it looks like when I leave with this girl. I know what it looks like, and I still choosing it. I'm in the driver's seat. That's what I wanted to do, right? I seen it. I seen the debt that I was putting myself in. I seen the risky behavior that I was about to go into, right? The problem is when you don't have the ability to do this and you make the decision. If you make the decision from the position of self-mastery, hey, it's all whatever. You know what it's hitting for. You know their consequences. You know that what this could potentially happen. And that's how you have full-scale supreme accountability, because you seen it before you put hands on that person, and you still did it, and you can live with the decision. Your relationship to your own mind begins to change. Thoughts are perceived with greater distance. Attention becomes deliberate rather than reactive. Thought stops being an unquestioned reflection of reality. It becomes movement with awareness, directed, reinforced, or released by you. You see how you're in control now, right? You are in control. Now life is not happening to you. You are happening to it, because you are now able to move your thoughts and your feelings around to where you want to go. You're able to move your thoughts and your feelings to the places you want them to be. And when you move this stuff around, you are moving your future around too. Okay? So, before you heard this, you may have had a reactive mind. And now, after this experience, after you download the book for yourself, you have a sovereign mind, right? And we learned tonight that sovereign is ruler, right? Absolute power. You have power over your mind instead of having a reactive mind, because a reactive mind, your attention is hijacked by notifications, emotional whiplash across the day, decisions made in reaction. But the sovereign mind, your attention is directed on purpose, emotional stability under pressure, decisions made in alignment. How does that sound? How does it sound to know that you once had a reactive mind and you were able to change your state, not in 20 years, in 20 days, in 20 minutes, to a sovereign mind, right? There go the generational curses right there. How about you are able to change it in the next 20 pages of this book? You go from one state to the next state. You went from a reactor to a sovereign, and you're able to explain what makes you sovereign. Ask someone, right? What does it mean to be sovereign? Ask someone, what does it mean to be sovereign? Okay? Most likely, they can't tell you. Okay? Reactive mind versus sovereign mind. You can explain it, because now you have the steps on what it means to have a sovereign mind. Now, you don't have to have an empire to be sovereign. You don't have to have a kingdom to be sovereign. That's the physical world, right? If you have a sovereign mind, you rise above humanity and you could come down to humanity. So you could go from your body to your mind, from your mind to your body. So what that looks like is, look, if your family wants to eat Thanksgiving, you have the ability to fellowship with them, even though you know the history of it, you know the stuff about the pilgrims, you know all about that, right? Because you could go to mind and you are saying, you know what? Yeah, I'm aware of all that, but I don't get to see my family all year. I'm going to enjoy the day. I'm going to be in it, but not of it, right? You're aware of the history. See, me, you know, when I was getting the knowledge, you know what I mean? I was trying to make a protest at somebody else's house on Thanksgiving when I was young. And they looking at me like, yo, who your peoples? And I'm sitting up there trying to make a protest because I didn't know how to leave my body. I was just stuck. How was y'all eating? You know what happens when you start getting a little awareness of history and all that. you start You know what I'm saying? You think you waking people up and you have this self-righteous thing about you, you know what I'm saying? And if anybody doesn't agree with you, they're the ones sleep and this, that, and the third, and this is a death holiday. That's true. That's true. But the self-mastery is that's true. And I can be here with my family and knowing that that's true, right? I can go to church with a Christian, even though I'm not one. I can go to the mosque with a Muslim, even though I'm not one. I can talk to a gay man. I can talk to a trans person. It does not matter because I know how to go in the realms of mind, right? So I'm not stuck in my body fighting body wars. That's a white man. That's a human, right? I'm talking total self mastery to where, yeah, I know the history of Christianity, but someone invited me to church and that means something to them. I'm going to go. And even if this person that is talking on stage is butchering the Bible, I don't care. I'm not here trying to control anything because my control can leave my body and go to mind. See, you need to control all this stuff when you just body. So it matters. Man, what is it? What are these people fighting about now? Is trans women going to the WNBA? Like, look at what people are. You talking about entertainment? You know, no one has to watch this stuff, right? It's a game. It's a game, right? That's your issue. A game, right? Every week it's gonna be something else, and you're gonna be, and the more you focus on it and more you pay attention, it's just gonna cause you disease because you can't actually change it. It's not meant to be changed, right? The earth is a realm. The physical plane is a plane that things go on here. It's always going on here, though. But you know how to live and let die now when you know how to change states. So when I see things now, I'm like, I'm able to look at it for what it is, ask myself, what do I think about it? How do I feel about it? Right? Then I re-ask myself, is what I think about this bias? Is what I feel about this, is it possible that I have a blind spot of what I look at? Now I'm doing this in quickly too. It could be anything. I am auditing my audit while being present. I am like checking my biases in the moment. How does this make me feel? And why do I feel like this? Was I told to not like this or not like this person? I'm doing this while I'm shaking someone's hand. Right? I am separating myself and then separating myself and then separating myself. And then I come back to integrate. Right? In the moment. Checking my biases, checking my prejudices, right? Checking my, I could have said that a different way. I can see how I'm talking a person's face. I offended them, right? And I don't live in a world now where they just gonna have to get over it. I used to be like that. No. Me as a person that I want to master, I want to be a master in all areas. I could have moved my words around better, right? See, I would outsource that before and say, well, you just gonna have to accept how I'm coming. Yeah, it was that at that time because I wasn't trying to be a master, right? So as a master, I can put a smile on this person's face and I didn't. I got to go back to the drawing board of my energy. You know what I mean? Because as a master, I should be able to shape this environment to my liking, right? And my liking is everybody's pleasant, at least while I'm here. When I leave, all hell can break loose. But while I'm here, everyone feels a certain type of way, and I am creating that. That's a master. I'm speaking in tongues. I find out where a person is from and I speak their language to them. To me, that's speaking in tongues, using my language to change the state of another person. You using language to find out where a person is and using that language to have a direct effect on that person to make the environment that I am in suitable for me. Now, when I walk away, that's whatever, right? So my goal to put a smile on someone's face because I know the language too. You know what I mean? Okay, so the reactive mind, then you have the sovereign mind. Okay, so the mechanics of mental repetition have been observed directly, and this awareness persists. Old patterns may still arise, but they are now reconciled while they occur. Okay, old patterns may still arise, but they are now recognized while they occur. So, in doing this work, again, you're going to feel and think some of the old program because this is not designed for you not to be that anymore. It's designed to put you in the driver's seat of self mastery to look at your thoughts, look at your body, be able to do an audit, be able to do a system diagnostics in the spot, you know, because once you try to suppress the animal, it's going to bite you back, right? It's gonna bite you back. And right now, you have like the old world, which is Eastern philosophy, what is all about meditation, fasting. You know what I mean? You see some of the people in India like really take it serious. That's the old world. It's about going inward and stuff. And then you have the Western world, which is all about materialism, consumption, and everything. They're both right. Both represent aspects of the human being, right? The individualism of the West, the tribalism of the East, the materialism of the West, the altruism of the East, the self denial of the East. They're both right, right? The master is in the middle of these poles, and then you tie a knot with it. You know what I mean? Supreme spirituality is hella money. And hella money is self-denial. I'm gonna clock it for myself. Okay. Supreme spirituality is hella money. And hella money is self-denial. Okay. Now, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, that'll tell you where you at in your journey on if you really ate that right there. If you haven't, just continue to work, and that will make a lot of sense to you. Okay. Governance of thought becomes an ongoing condition, not a one-time fix. Okay. This is not microwave. This is a particular path, right? That you get better at and better at and better at. And each season of your life, you're going to have different hurdles and obstacles in your path on trying to do this work. So it's an ongoing thing. So don't be frustrated with yourself because there's no destination, there's no finish line. You know what I mean? It is something that grows and you get more defined in it. But don't let your frustrations grow as if you're doing something wrong. You are not. It is a path. Okay. Thought repeats, awareness selects, the initiated governs the mind. Thought repeats, awareness selects, the initiated governs the mind. Okay. And part 4, take it with you. What to practice before we meet again. So you have homework, okay? You have homework. What to remember? Observation watches thought, governance directs it. The goal is redirection, not suppression. Recognize, redirect, repeat, reorganize. Okay? Remember those steps. Recognize, redirect, repeat, reorganize. And you don't stop thoughts. You stop feeding the wrong ones. Okay? Go ahead and screenshot that. Try this today. Pick one reoccurring loop from tonight's list. Each time it arises, silently rename it. Recognized. Then redirect attention to your breath for 3 full cycles before continuing. So some of the loops we talked about is fear, resentment, fantasy, comparison, anticipation, and self-criticism. Fear, resentment, fantasy, comparison, anticipation, and self-criticism. Pick one of those loops from the list, and each time it arises, silently rename it. Then redirect attention to your breath for 3 full cycles before continuing. What loop? It's a question for you. What loop has run the longest without your permission? Fear, resentment, comparison. Name it in the chat, anybody that's in the chat, right? What is a loop that has run the longest without your permission? That's the key thing. What scripts or loops are running and it's doing it without your permission? Sit with that for a second. What loop has ran the longest in your life without your permission? People mention trauma a lot. Question: if you believe that you've had trauma, if you believe that, does the trauma have permission to show up in your life? If you are struggling with anger, does anger have permission to run? If you are dealing with neglect or abandonment, do these things have your permission to run, or are they running on their own? Ain't that the same thing? Do those things have your permission to run? Are they doing its own thing? You're a very jealous person. Does jealousy have your permission? When you say, that's just how I am, are you saying that based on things that are running? Do you agree with the things that you think? Do you agree with the reactions that you have in the workplace, in your relationships? Do you agree? Is someone trying to love on you and a thing is coming up every time to push back on this person's love? Do you agree with that thought? Is it running without your permission? Is the abandonment, the neglect, the childhood wound, do those things operate without you saying so? That's a rhetorical question. And if your answer is yes, first of all, that's a step forward, because that's you having awareness now that these things that are coming up in your life are coming up without your permission. Now that you know it's not consensual, you're able to spot the burglar coming in. You're able to spot the intruder coming in. You know that these thoughts that are creeping in are doing so without your permission, and you're able to point your finger at it, and you're able to bind the thought, bind the feeling. You're able to get control of that emotion or that set of thinking, and you're able to do what you want with it now. Now this stuff is just not creeping in your window. Now this stuff is just not opening your door. Now this stuff is not just walking beside you. You're well aware of it and you know what to do with it. You are firmly in the driver's seat of your life right now. Okay. What was the core line? What do you think about determines the quality that emerges? Key distinction: observation watches, governance directs. The mechanism: recognize, redirect, repeat, reorganize. What this is not suppression, because suppression intensifies the resistance. And the seal is thought repeats, awareness selects, the initiated governs the mind. This may be our next chapter that we visit in the book. Now that I put this on the floor, we may go to the beginning of the book and deal with the observer. Okay. So if you're in YouTube, the link to the book is pinned to the chat, or you can !mastery. If you're on TikTok, DM me self-mastery or mastery, either one, and I'll get that to you. Or you can get it right there. Everything we cover tonight is in my latest ebook, The Initiated Human. And you already see I ain't got to big it up. All you have to do is decide where you are in your life and are you ready to do the work? Because if you're ready to do the work, this is a tool that you can put in your toolbox. And if you make changes and upgrades on the spot, much respect to you. Even if you wish me the opposite, sooner or later, we'll all see who the prophet is.